Are you in love? Are you thinking about marrying the love of your life? If so, it's best you both talk about some important issues. A couple of questions before going to the altar will help you prevent certain conflicts. Even if they say that love conquers all, we don't want you to break up after 3 months. I mean, nobody gets married to end in divorce. Join me to meet 5 things married couples never talk about. Before we begin, make sure you hit that subscribe button to get notified every day for more amazing content. With that being said, let's begin. Number 5. Who's going to change the baby's diapers? Unlike old societies, it's no longer essential to have children to say a marriage is successful. On the contrary, nowadays, most pregnancies are an accident. Although between you and us, we don't understand how they can call that an unplanned pregnancy. I mean, everyone should know that if a man and a woman have sex without protection, this could be the result. In short, although most babies are born without being planned, the ideal is for the couple to talk about it. This would avoid surprises 9 months later. When this talk arrives, the important thing is to say what you feel and not what your partner wants to hear. You must accept that sometimes what you want isn't what the other wants. The difference of ideas could lead to the frustration of one of the parties. If she or he doesn't feel ready to take that step, you could talk about protection methods and put on the table whether they should be married or not. Meaning, a child transforms the structure of a family relationship. The order of priorities change with a baby in the house. A child is a decision that should be taken by the two of you. If you both agree on having children, you should plan the number of children you want and the age difference they'll have from one another. You should also talk about when to bring them into the world. Both must take into consideration there could be problems when conceiving. In this case, don't dismiss adoption or fertility treatment. Even if it's a topic you've discussed in the past, remember, people change their minds. Maybe in the past your partner didn't want to have children, but when seeing your cousin's baby, his mind could change. This should be a halfway open door, especially if they decide to stay together. Remember, this topic isn't simple. Things aren't about expanding or not expanding the family, but about how prepared they both are to have a responsibility this big. Always be honest. Listen to what the other wants to say, and most importantly, respect the opinion of the other if it's different from yours. Number 4. Should we talk about our exes? Are you one of those people who want to know every detail of your current partner's ex? Sure, you don't do it with bad intentions. Maybe your only fear is to go through the same story all over again. Let us ask you, do you really need to know so much about their past? Many people consider this a fundamental issue before getting married, especially if your partner is divorced or lived with someone for a long time. Other people prefer to ignore that conversation and not give any importance to what happened before them. We know it's important not to have secrets in a relationship, but it's also important everyone has their own space and keep some things for themselves, especially when what they're going to say won't help the relationship at all. Do you think knowing about your ex will bring you closer or make you more empathetic? We don't think so. This is not a matter of secrets, but intimacy. On the other hand, if you're the one who doesn't want to talk about it, but your partner insists in wanting to know, do you wonder what you should do? We're back at the root of this thing. Why talk about the past? It'll be a problem, especially if it's a sensitive topic. Remember, curiosity killed the cat. We don't think it's healthy to talk about it, especially if it's not a good thing about your past. There's no strong reason to share details like these ones that only create problems and headaches. Remember, you'll only see it from one point of view, your partner's. And if a relationship ended, it was because there was a flaw in both parties. The opinion they give you will never be objective. On the contrary, old feelings will be touched. Talking about the past will help you build a better future? Comparing your present with your past is silly. Sometimes they're topics that come out of nowhere. Your partner will mention their ex on the daily basis even if it's not with second intentions. On those occasions, you should ask, are you comparing our relationship with your previous one? Are you missing something with me? Are you happy being with me? The answers you receive would help clarify doubts and create confidence in you. If you decide to make the decision to talk about your former partners, keep these details in mind. First, listen carefully to what they'll tell you. Second, it's important you know the reasons why they brought up the subject. Maybe one of the two hasn't overcome the breakup. If so, it's best to solve it before even thinking about starting a new relationship. Another reason could be to indirectly say that something is not being done in the best way. Remember, a little chat might clarify that. What do you think? Is it important or not to talk about this? We want to read your opinion. Leave it in the comments. Number 3. What are your sexual tastes? You have to agree with us on this one. There is nothing that makes a couple happier than good sex. Having a lot of sexual encounters won't ever sadden one of the parties. However, missing sex or not being the best could cause problems. If you're one of those couples who prefer to wait until marriage to make it physical, it's important you at least talk about it. You should never take something for granted. It's a mistake to avoid the topic because of shame or taboo. Each one must express how important the sexual act is to them, the frequency with which they should do it, what fidelity means for each person, and if one of the two of you is attracted by non-traditional practices. Maybe at the beginning, it's embarrassing to talk about things such as positions or what turns him or her on or off. But you should know that things as simple as doing it with the light off or on, or are we only doing it in bed or on any surface? Sex isn't only practiced, it's also spoken. In fact, even if the act has already been completed, it's important this topic to be discussed. What you think the other does well, what you both think that can be improved, or what you think would bring extra excitement in the future. We're sure these conversations will help in times of crisis, in addition to enhancing confidence in the intimacy. It's best to avoid sexual errors and dissatisfactions. The best you both can do is break down taboos and prejudices. Never take for granted your partner knows everything you like or your preferences in that area. Not everyone knows how to approach the topic and believe that their sexual relations will improve by magic. But in reality, it's different. It depends on your conversations. Number 2. Do you believe in God? You must put your political and religious convictions on the table if you're willing to marry, especially if both have decided to have children. Both could have very different ideologies. It's important to clarify the foundations in which the children will be raised. Speak honestly in order to avoid problems if traditions or celebrations don't have the same relevance. Is one of the two willing to change the religion? You must admit, religions and love relationships are an extremely complicated thing as for adding a difference of beliefs. It's normal for people to have different views on a topic, that's fine. Conflict is created when there's no respect in these differences. Remember, each one's principles and values are based on the religion on which both of you grew up. So we can't ask our partner to deny what they believe in. You could try to persuade them, as long as you don't invade their free will. This doesn't mean they're not convinced, but that your arguments sound reasonable and they agree with everything they learned as a child. Keep in mind, religion and spirituality aren't the same. Spirituality is more related to the connection you have with nature and the people around you, the union with God, regardless of which God, this assuming they believe in God, of course. On the other hand, religion is related to the rules and statutes that a tradition has interpreted as spirituality. It's not right to say one religion is better than another, or to profess that the one you believe in is the absolute truth. You can think that way, but why say it? How would that help? Would you feel comfortable if they told you that you're on the wrong path? How can you demand a Hindu to believe in Jesus if they never told them about him? If the ideological differences between you and your partner are very large, the ideal thing is to put an end to the relationship. If both of you aren't willing to talk and meet halfway when it comes to your beliefs, it's best not to have any conflict. Only maturity can help overcome a dilemma as big as this one. Respecting others doesn't mean you share their way of life. It means you have enough intelligence to accept there are individuals who think for themselves, and that's fine. As long as their practices don't directly affect you or impair your life quality, you must allow them to express themselves freely. As a society, we must overcome prejudices, and if our tolerance is tested every time we're in the presence of the other, it's best to get away. Number 1. Who's going to clean the bathroom? If you don't live with your partner yet and you want to enjoy your coexistence from the first moment, cleaning and shopping are topics you can't ignore. Just as both choose the most romantic songs for the wedding dance and pick up the fanciest invitations, you must distribute the housework. Organization is never a plus. This will help both make life as a couple more bearable. Make a work and leisure activity schedule. Cleaning, washing dishes, and cooking aren't tasks belonging to a specific gender. Even though cleaning the toilet makes no one happy, someone has to do it. If your finances aren't enough to pay a maid, the ideal is to talk about who will perform this terrible task. We're not telling you only one of the two should do it. In fact, you could take turns. One week you can do it, the other week your partner can do it, and so on. Negotiating household chores is the first step you must take to maintain a clean home. The important thing is that both are comfortable with what you're doing and feel the distribution has been equitable. Don't look to take advantage of anything. Respect the needs of the other. Also, if you both learn to be super clean and neat, you won't have so many conflicts when the time for cleaning comes. You could have a list of to-dos for household chores. Each one chooses the tasks according to their preference. Both will realize that while one prefers to clean the windows, the other has fun vacuuming the carpet. The biggest conflict can come when you have to split the tasks that neither of you want to do. In these opportunities, you could consider hiring a third party. Everything depends on your economic disposition. Alright, Top Fivers, if you haven't already, make sure to visit our other channel, the brilliant, for even more interesting list videos that'll blow your mind. But I'm warning you, the videos over on The Brilliant are extremely addicting to watch as well. There'll be a link in the description to the channel, so make sure to come and visit us. Or you can go to our latest video popping up on screen right now. Oh, and have you visited thefinestpost.com to enjoy the most amazing articles you'll ever get to read?